Hey everyone, welcome back. So a question that I get a lot is what are some of my favorite classical guitar recordings and what do I want to sound like when I record? So let's get into it. But first, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It would really help support the channel. So the subject of what I think makes a good recording is kind of complicated because there's a lot of records that I love the playing on, but I might not be so much of a fan of how it was recorded, and vice versa. It's kind of hard to separate the two. And a good record doesn't necessarily have to have like the most pristine sound. There's a ton of recordings from generally like pre-1980 that are recorded on tape, primarily a lot of Julian Bream stuff, where it's not exactly the highest fidelity. You can hear tape noise and hiss, and sometimes you can even hear the edits, you know, like where they actually like cut the physical tape and then spliced it if you have like really good headphones. But those are some of my favorite recordings. The three that I'm going to give you today are both amazing playing, but also just really high fidelity sounding. Like I just love the sound of these records. And I think if you listen to them, even if like the actual material or repertoire is not your cup of tea, the sound might be, or it might not. Let me know in the comments down below. I really would like to hear what you guys are listening to. So my first favorite is Ricardo Gallén's Bach album. And this was recorded by Norbert Kraft, and most of Norbert Kraft's recordings are just stellar. I mean, pretty much anything on Naxos is recorded by Norbert Kraft, and it just sounds amazing. They're super consistent from album to album. My personal favorite, and possibly because of the guitar player and the rep, is Ricardo's Bach album. It just sounds incredible. There's a really short clip on YouTube that actually shows them recording it and setting up the mics, which is incredible. But Ricardo's playing is just amazing, and he's not using a modern style guitar. He's using kind of like an older Viennese style. And it sounds more lute-like, and it's just incredible, and his phrasing is just awesome, and it doesn't really sound like every other Bach album you've heard from every other classical guitar player. But the actual audio recording is just so good, like the natural balance of real ambience, the direct sound of the guitar, the intimacy, the type of instrument that was picked. It all kind of goes into what I think is like a good quintessential classical guitar recording, and I highly recommend you check that out. So my second recommendation is actually a guitar concerto recording, because there are so many of these, and I'm kind of picky as to which ones I really enjoy and like to listen to, because my biggest complaint is that so many guitar concerto recordings sound like an orchestra, and then a guitar recorded 7 states away. Like, it really sounds weird when the guitar has like no reverb, or it's like really, really loud, and the orchestra is really quiet. Because if you've ever played classical guitar, which if you're watching this channel, you probably do. If you don't play classical guitar and you're watching this channel, I would really like to meet you. But basically, it's really quiet, and it's just odd when you hear a guitar that's so much louder than the orchestra. And my favorite is Pepe Romero's recording of the Aranjuez with St. Martin in the Fields. And the orchestra sound on that is incredible. The guitar sound is so natural. And I've seen, you know, videos and things kind of around that session, and they more or less recorded it all in the same room. And Pepe is such an incredible player. I mean, the guy can just like do that thing in a few takes, and it just sounds amazing. But the balance on that is just my favorite. Like, it really does sound like you're listening to an orchestra and a guitar in a room play. And it doesn't really sound like the guitar has been hyped or on steroids or something like that. So if you get a chance, or if you haven't heard it already, it's like one of the most famous recordings of all time. Go ahead and check that out. Now, the last recording that I recommend is Scott Tennant's Mysterious Barricades album from the Guitar Co-op label. And I could also more or less extend that to pretty much everything on the Guitar Co-op label. As far as I know, they're pretty much all recorded by Ricardo Marui, and they just sound incredible. I just love the balance of natural ambience to direct sound, and I really never get tired of listening to them. I mean, they just sound so good. So anytime that I'm actually doing recording myself or mixing or something like that, I like to go back to those albums and those videos too to get ideas for my own guitar videos. You know, some of those camera angles and just the quality that they have is just really great. So I highly recommend you check those out. So those are just my 3 favorites. I'd really like to know what you guys consider your favorite classical guitar recordings. So if you would, leave a comment down below and let me know. I'll see you guys in the next video.